Be very careful when you're in the company of vampires so that you don't become one. Blood is life. Why do you think a vampire wants your blood? It keeps them alive, not you. Welcome to our cosmic journey, everyone. Starcasting to you from the City of Angels. Hello, I'm Kiris. Thank you so much for being here and listening to the Voice of Astrology podcast. This is your astrology cosmic superpower for the week beginning Sunday, January 5th through Saturday, January 11th, 2025. Let's journey together with astrology and explore how to connect with the stars, the planets, the energies for our new week ahead. The enchanting magical night sky first full week in 2025 begins with Sunday, January 5th. The waxing pregnant crescent moon will lie above Venus and Saturn in the western evening sky. Keep an eye on Venus and Saturn this month because little by little they are growing closer and closer together. Monday, the moon's day, January 6th, we have the first quarter moon. It rises at noon and sets around midnight. On January 8th, Elvis's birthday, the moon is perigee, that is, the closest to the Earth. On January 10th, the waxing gibbous moon lines up with the kingly planet Jupiter, the fixed stars Capella, Aldebaran, with the delicate, beautiful Pleiades nearby. They will be visible almost until dawn. The 7 original planets first used in astrology, or the OGs as I call them, that you can see without aid of telescope or binoculars, just like the first original astrologers did, are starting off the week lined up as such. We've got the Sun in cardinal Earth Capricorn. The Moon is in Jupiter-ruled Pisces. Mercury is in its detriment in the sign of Sagittarius. Venus is exalted in the sign of Pisces. Mars is retrograde in Leo, about to fall in the sign of cardinal water Cancer. Jupiter is in its detriment in Gemini, still retrograde, and Saturn is in Pisces, ruled by Jupiter. Sunday, January 5th, we start off the week early with the moon still in mutable water Pisces, making a square aspect of activity to Mercury in its detriment, also Jupiter ruled Sagittarius. The moon then makes a conjunction to Neptune in Pisces. And I hope you didn't miss that gorgeous moon in Pisces conjunct Venus exalted in Pisces. It is so beautiful when we've got the moon conjunct Venus. When it's first rising, it's low in the sky. It's just awe-inspiring to see. Anyway, we're starting off the week with the moon still in Pisces, trying to sort through and get clear about communication. Moon square Mercury in its detriment. Moon conjunct Neptune in Pisces. What are these overwhelming feelings that you're feeling? Later on the 5th, the moon enters cardinal fire Aries, ruled by Mars. The moon in Aries makes a fire trine flow to Mars, retrograde in fixed fire Leo, and then a sextile aspect of opportunity to Pluto in fixed air Aquarius. In other words, first you're feeling these confusing, overwhelming emotions with the moon in Pisces, and then when the moon enters the sign of Aries, ruled by Mars, which takes action, now you're ready to do something about how you've been feeling. The planet Mars retrogrades, returns into the sign of Cancer until February 23rd, then stations direct, moves forward, still in the sign of Cancer, until April 17th, when Mars stations direct in the sign of Leo. The planet Mars in astrology rules over blood. Blood is our life force. It is vital. It is our vitality. Mars is also the color red. Whenever and wherever we are opened, we are all the color red. The connection we all have, not only about us all having blood as the color red, but blood is thicker than water. Blood might make you related, but it's loyalty that makes you family. Blood, as we know, is essential. It circulates oxygen. It circulates all the nutrients and components we need to be healthy, to stay alive. Blood also circulates out of the body the poison that we need to get rid of. The function of Mars, the lesser malefic, is to protect, to put an end to something, to cut something away that could be life-threatening to you, your body, and your very life. Mars returning to its fall in the sign of Cancer, Cancer ruling over the stomach, the soft underbelly, the weakest, most vulnerable part of something. The phrase soft underbelly actually comes from Winston Churchill during World War II, when he described Italy as the soft underbelly of Europe, meaning Italy was the most vulnerable spot in Europe, and that Germany had to come in from there, from Italy. When men are wounded and dying in war, when they are at their weakest, most vulnerable, they don't cry out for their fathers. They cry out for their mothers. Cancer is the sign of the nurturing mom, the moon, home, and family, comfort. Cancer is that most sensitive underbelly part of all of us. When you see someone being mean for apparently no reason, what's really going on there is they want the comfort of a mom, mother love, that is like no other. Who other than your mom knows your deepest vulnerability, your soft underbelly? We've all heard the phrase of psychic vampires, certain people being referred to as a vampire. This Mars retrograde in Cancer is very vulnerable to certain situations, people, places, jobs, all different kinds of circumstances that can drain you of your life force, your vitality, your blood. A psychic vampire tries to find out what you're most weak about, tries to find that underbelly vulnerability and take advantage of it. A vampire wants to know what you're sensitive about, like the sign of Cancer, which is so emotional and caring and sensitive. Cancer cares. They can try not to care, but they care. The sign of Cancer is the crab. On the outside, they have this tough outer shell that they hide in, but underneath, if you turn Cancer the crab over, there's that soft, emotional, caring underbelly. No matter what sign of the zodiac you are, somewhere in the zodiacal wheel, you have the sign of Cancer on one of the 12 departments, 12 houses of life. The moon-ruled Cancer also has a very long memory. They do not forget. They have emotional intelligence. Cancer also rules over food. They're always trying to feed people. If someone is a Cancer, has a lot of Cancer in their astrology chart, they're always trying to mother and nurture you. They're trying to comfort, like the moon and the sign of Cancer. A retrograde in astrology is a return. It's to go back and look over something, or in this case, feel over something, second, third, and beyond time. This is the Mars retrograde in Cancer. Beware of the vampires in your life that want your vitality and life force. The Mars is trying to cut that away to protect you. Now, this Mars retrograde in Cancer can feel out many different circumstances. For instance, the place, the city, the town you live in. Try to feel how you feel in the environment you live. Is the city, country, place, home? Cancer rules over the home. Does it drain you or does it give you vitality? The very place you live in. In astrology, we call this astrocartography, locational astrology, that gets a gauge on if you feel strong or not where you live. In job and career, are you excited about the work you do? Do you love it? Is it a devotion? Or do you find yourself, I hear this all the time as a professional astrologer, do you find yourself more and more not only drained, but the toll perhaps that it's taking on your health, your vitality, your blood, to keep going to a work situation that is literally like a vampire. It's taking the life right out of you. Cancer is cardinal water, meaning to enter and take action, to go into a new chapter in your life. If it isn't common sense to be able to just get up and leave your job, at least with the Mars retrograde in Cancer, initiating the necessary steps, the different actions that you may need to take to change jobs and career. At least consider that if you feel like your work is a vampire, taking the life right out of you. Food, diet, which Cancer rules over. You could take stock with this Mars retrograde in Cancer as far as your diet. Is it depleting you of energy? Is it draining you of energy? Or are the foods you're eating making you feel great, making you have a lot of energy? Cancer rules over things like milk and cheese. Take stock of if you're lactose intolerant, if you really shouldn't be eating those kinds of foods, or at least if you could moderate them. Are the foods you're eating like a vampire, taking the life right out of you? Also, clutter. Clutter can be a very big deal. And the sign of Cancer, they're the biggest pack rats, hoarders. They just find it very difficult to let go of anything, to clear out the clutter. There's an old saying in astrology that Cancer the crab will lose the claw before it lets anything go. So if you've been in a space, a garage, a closet, where there are so many things there that you find it very difficult to let go of, and everything holds energy, then it could be the very space, home, that you're living in that is draining you of your vitality, your life force. Stuff can actually be like a vampire. It's time to let it go and let Mars do its job, which is to cut those things away, to protect you. There are just so many things around us all of the time. The weather, perhaps. Some people like the cold. Some people have very little tolerance for the cold. Take stock of this, the retrograde, return, redo, relook. There are countless, a myriad of different things to reconsider for what gives you vitality, what drains you of your life force. And then, of course, last but certainly not least, the people, the human psychic vampires. Cancer rules over the stomach, and the stomach is very often referred to as the second brain. It's connected, and it's your emotional intelligence. When you feel a knot in your stomach, your body, your stomach, is trying to tell you something that your mind is not ready yet to accept. It may not be in the awareness of your intellect, yet you feel that discomfort. Your body is a precious radar. It tells the truth. A vampire also knows how to hypnotize. It knows how to mess with your mind. When you're around someone, if your mind is confused, if you're not clear, if you don't have peace of mind, that's also an indication that you're connected, engaging with a psychic vampire. A good question to ask during this Mars retrograde in Cancer is that if there is anybody in your life, will you always walk away feeling like, I'm confused, I don't have peace of mind, it's not clear, it's not bringing my mind balance? Strong indication that a person's situation is a psychic vampire. If you're around someone and your feeling is, gee, I always feel tired, I feel drained, exhausted from being around this person, of course, a vampire. If you're around someone and there's always like this chaos, this drama, it's never settled, and you can walk away and feel in your stomach and in your body upset, chaotic, you're trying to figure out why, then that as well can be a psychic vampire. The bottom line is this: What do you do about it? How do you care for your well-being with this Mars retrograde in the sign of Cancer? You have the power. It's not that the energies and the planetary configurations are doing anything to us. They are simply putting a spotlight, a highlight on something going on in your life that you would want to pay extra attention to lift it up, to heal this. It is time with Mars retrograde back into Cancer to remove whatever type of drain, psychic vampire is in your life. So here are a few suggestions that can really help you out and maneuver through this Mars in Cancer cycle. 1. After spending time with someone, just take a moment to reflect or journal how you feel after being around that person. 2. You can carve out a few moments of solitude, time alone each day, to go within, breathe, take stock of how you're feeling. But solitude, a certain amount of time just to yourself, is essential. Vampire-type relationships, they definitely distance us from our dreams, what you love. Find your passion. What is it that you want to do because your heart's truly in it? Find out who is in your life that supports your visions and your dreams, that wants to see you succeed and happy. These are the types of people and relationships that we love to have around us, where we support them, they support us. Also with psychic vampires, ask yourself, do you feel free around this person? Free to be yourself, free to be harmonious in your body, mind, and heart. When we are around someone that is not a psychic vampire, that we're in harmony with, it's just so easy to be around them. It feels light. It feels like laughter, happiness, playful, fun. The energy that we give to them and that they give to us is an uplifting, feeling good in the body kind of energy. Also, a very important question we should all ask ourselves during this cycle is, am I the psychic vampire? It works both ways. Taking stock of how perhaps you are draining, how you are making the other person feel. It works all around for each individual. But one thing is for sure, any type of psychic vampire relationship, in whatever form it comes, home, job, relationship, all of it, this type of dynamic and interchange can render a person so weak that it literally can take their life and their health. As I said at the beginning of this podcast, be careful of being in the company of vampires so that you don't become one. Also today we have the second quarter moon at 16 degrees Aries. The square between the moon in Mars-ruled Aries to the sun in Saturn-ruled Capricorn. This is the action, the square aspect of which direction do you choose. Moon in Aries, newborn baby, authentic, bold, confident, and enthusiastic, enthos, to be filled up with spirit and lifeblood. Or the sun in Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, the restrictions, the blocks that we are trying to remove at this time. Moon in Aries, conjunct Chiron in Aries, the wounded healer today, would be very direct in making a very clear, direct decision and communicating it that you are going back to your true, authentic self. And that's just the way it's going to be. The sun is exalted in Aries, springtime. It's all fresh and new. It's all ahead of you. That energy, that spirit of just being happy to be alive, no matter what the chronological age is that you may be. During this Mars cycle in the sign of Cancer, this is the preparation time to get back to that feeling and that state of being that is light and happy and excited about life, Tuesday, January 7th, the moon changes and moves into her exaltation in the sign of Taurus, ruled by Venus. The moon exalted in Taurus on this day makes a square aspect to Pluto in Aquarius. This is the moon knowing how you feel, what you are going to let go of. Moon square Pluto, which is the death and then the rebirth, Phoenix rising from the ashes, so that you can feel as great as you possibly can. The moon exalted in Taurus wants it all. It wants everything over the top. And that excitement of taking the action to dream big, knowing how you feel. You're connected to your feelings and your emotions with the moon exalted in Taurus. That excitement of dreaming big and going for it, that alone gives you energy. It doesn't drain you of energy. Wednesday, January 8th, we have Mercury changing signs on this day. Mercury enters the sign of Capricorn, ruled by Saturn. Now, Mercury entering Capricorn is the mind being very much aware of how what you think, what you say to yourself, the conversation going on in your own head, how you talk to yourself needs a good reality check, which is, of course, like everything else that we've been talking about as a theme through this podcast, is that thoughts are things. What we say to ourselves in our own head, of course, greatly creates and contributes to what we are manifesting on the outside. Along with Mercury having moved into the sign of Capricorn on this day, we still have the moon exalted in Taurus, making a sextile aspect of opportunity to Saturn in Pisces. This is the moon feeling really good about what you want to build as your dream, making the dream come into Saturn reality. Really nice aspect here with your heart, your emotions, and what is your dream that you're all happy and excited about to look forward to and to create. The moon in Taurus today also makes an earth trine flow to the sun in Capricorn. This is just beautiful to have the two luminaries, the moon and the sun, the masculine, feminine, the inner and the outer, saying, yes, we are a clear channel of manifestation and we are looking forward to doing the work. This is the element of earth, doing the work that you are devoted to. It's not even like a job. You just love it. You want to do the work. The work actually gives you vitality and life force. It doesn't drain you. Lovely aspect, moon trine the sun, where you feel and know your value and your talents, and you just want to keep tilling the soil, earth, to do the work to make them grow and flourish. It's natural to you, and nature is life itself. Thursday, Jupiter's day, we still have the moon in fixed Earth Taurus, making a sextile aspect to Mars retrograde in Cancer. Now, when it comes to Taurus, fixed Earth, that has made the decision, that has made the determination that it's going to stay the course, and all of your emotions and your guts, the stomach, are behind, backing up the determination of the moon in Taurus, the bull. Then this moon in Taurus making the sextile aspect to Mars retrograde in Cancer is the very firm, will not change, fixed earth decision with all of the emotion that what needs to go, Mars retrograde in Cancer, that what needs to go is going to go. The moon in Taurus, the moon being the stomach, making this aspect to Mars in Cancer, Cancer being the stomach. You could think of it this way. Now you've got the stomach to say goodbye and cut away what needs to go. It may be easier to cut away jobs and homes and places to live, but when it comes to people and relationships in our life, that is not such an easy thing to do. We have to make that decision, that determination, that certain relationships have to end. You may love the person very much, but we're talking about what our life and health depends on at this time. You may love the other person or people, but love yourself enough to end it and walk away. What I have observed in astrology that Earth is the element that feels a great responsibility for a situation and other people. It's one thing to have compassion and sincerely try to help another person with whatever they're going through, but to take responsibility for what they're going through, that is a whole other level of psychic vampire. It's not easy for a fixed sign of the zodiac, especially the moon in Taurus, because there's so much emotion invested. It's not easy for a moon in Taurus or any fixed placement to make this kind of change. But just know, whether you're Taurus, moon in Taurus or not, you don't have to do this to yourself any longer. Friday, Venus's day, we now have the moon, which is growing towards full moon. The moon in Gemini, mutable air Gemini. It's light, it's open-minded, it is ready and accepting and wanting with the moon in Gemini, wanting that change. With the moon in Gemini, most of all, it's a change in a mindset, an attitude. Saturday, January 11th, the moon in Gemini makes a lovely sextile aspect to Chiron in Aries, air and fire. It's exciting. It's so much fun. A new sense of you connected to your thoughts, moon in Gemini. Also, we have then later on in the day, we have the moon going home to her castle. The moon enters cardinal water Cancer. Home is where the heart is. When you're at home with the moon in Cancer, the feeling of home, being connected to your emotional body, having respect for your feelings, your sensitivities, your vulnerabilities, being a great mom to your inner child, self-care, nurturing yourself. The moon at home in Cancer has everything that she needs to not only self-care, but it's also the feeling of contentment, to be filled up, to be fertile, to create. The moon is now waxing, growing in fertility and emotion as we watch the moon grow towards the full moon. The moon going home to Cancer is a waxing gibbous moon ready to give birth. So as we approach the full moon coming up, and with all the hard work you've done, because a lot of this, of course, is not easy, what are you preparing to give birth to in your life as we approach the full moon? It's about life and creativity and giving birth to new life, not taking away from life as we maneuver through this Mars retrograde in Cancer cycle. Thank you, everyone. Have a fabulous week. I will see you all in the stars.